Alright guys, Chris here with Yank My Rod Fishing. Going to be talking about different lures to fish for bass during the pre-spawn. I got a handful of lures that I'm going to go over with you guys as far as what I throw, what I find I have success with. So I'm going to start off with the jerkbait. Generally this is a lure that's best just after the ice out. When your ice starts melting, you start getting some open water. You're going to have clear water then, which is also another reason why I'm bringing this up. Jerkbait during the pre-spawn, I'm only going to be fishing this in clear water. The jerkbait relies on presentation only, your success, sight. So if you're fishing this in stained water, chances are you're not going to be as successful. Now the key with fishing a jerkbait in anytime, but especially the pre-spawn, I like to use either a suspending jerkbait. You want something that can just sit there, you'll twitch, pause, and on the pause, especially during pre-spawn when the water's still cold, you really want to make those pauses last for a little while, give the bass an opportunity to see it and commit to biting it. So a suspending jerkbait that'll sit there. Also, one that's slow sinking. I won't go to one that floats, just to the fact that it's rising. You have less time to really let it pause. So with this is a shadow rap. Now they're a little bit more erratic, but at the same time, reason that I like the shadow rap as well for the pre-spawn is when you twitch it, you can literally twitch left and right and it'll do a 180 and still kind of just sit in the same spot as long as you're working that properly. So this is another jerkbait, along with it being slow sinking, you can really just let it pause and sit there in the strike zone for a while. Again, jerkbaits though, only fishing in real clear water. You'll notice some colors that I like to use as far as different shads. I like to use gold during pre-spawn. I got this live target bait ball one. So you really don't need too dark of a jerkbait with working in the clear water, obviously. Next I will go to, and this is probably not only mine, but this is a favorite across the board for cold water, is the Rapala Shad Rap. Size 5, the SR5 and the SR7, those seem to be across the board the most popular ones. With those, they just produce bite time and time again. They have a real tight wobble to them. Now with crankbaits, for the pre-spawn in that cold water, you want a tight wobble, but also it's not necessary. There are times where I fish more of a wide wobble as well. Not as often as the tight wobble in pre-spawn, but your Shad Rap is well known for its tight wobble. I'll fish various colors. I have a glass one here, for instance, but I do also like to fish crawl colors on that. Those you want to fish more if you have rocks, if you're off a point, anything like that. And with that being said, you really want to be trying to hold the rod tip low, and so you can still reel slow, not slow enough where you're losing action on it. You want to maintain action, so you want to reel it slow enough where it does have action, but it's a slower moving, because these bass at this point of the year, they're real lethargic. They don't want to have to go and chase after a meal, but if they see an easier meal right there in front of them, they're going to take advantage of that and get that. So if you keep your rod tip low and reel slow enough where you're maintaining contact, bouncing it off of anything you can, that'll present a nice meal for a bass. They will hit it. On the opposite end of the spectrum, you got like a wiggle wart. Those have very wide action. It's a wider wobble. Those seem to produce as well. It's kind of what the bass are going to hit on. You can get them on a wide wobble, but if you're trying to use a lure with a wide wobble, a crankbait with a wide wobble, such as a wiggle wart, and it's not producing, do yourself a favor and go to something with a tight wobble like a Shad Rap. Try that out before just completely giving up on the crankbait for the day. There's other ones with the tight wobble. You know, Storm has a shad out with the tight wobble. Some other examples, you know, some wider wobbles you'll see though. And again, these generally too I might use a little bit bigger. I use these in more stain water as well, because again, you know, along with that vibration too that you naturally get from crankbait, if it's a little bit more stained water, you want to try to get the odds in your favor. So if you can get some with a little bit wider wobble, more water displacement, that's going to attract those fish in. So those are the times that I might lean towards fishing with a crankbait with a wider wobble during the pre-spawn. Now another successful one that I'm sure most people can agree with is your lipless crankbait. Lipless crankbaits, time and time again throughout the pre-spawn, during the spawn, and post-spawn, are great producing lures. Of course, everyone knows of the Rattle Trap. You know, that's obviously the most famous one out there. There's other great brands like Bagley, Bagley's lipless crankbaits. Those are they're good. These have the rattles in them. Generally, pre-spawn, if it's clear water, I'm going without the rattle. So something like this one, it's a 6 cents. It's no rattle. It's craw color again. You know, along with the regular crankbaits, your lipless cranks, I love to use a craw colored one. Your reds or your oranges. You know, also Bass Pro Shop. I use Bass Pro Shop lipless cranks, and they work great too. With the craw color, I like to use that in stained water, but also clear as well. And you know, you want to, like any other time you're fishing throughout the year, try to match the hatch. So if, you know, in your lake, wherever you're fishing, your river, your stream, you know, shad is a forage fish, then fish with some type of shad color Rattle Trap. If there's a lot of crawfish, fish with a craw colored one. And especially with these, you know, try to with your craw colored ones, fish those by the rocks. I also like to, if there's a submerged grass that's a little bit under the surface, I love fishing lipless cranks in those areas as well, because you know, with a lipless crank, you could work that real slow and base the depth on how high or low you're holding the tip of your pole. So you could reel that in slower and hold your tip lower, and it's going to go lower. You can reel it in, keep the tip up a little bit, but I like it where I'm just clipping the top of the grass blades, and you know, you'll get snagged a little bit, yank it, and a lot of times you get those reaction strikes. And generally though, in that situation, that's when I'm fishing the shad color as well, especially if it's clear. But again, I do like to fish the craw color as well in clear water. If it's a little bit murkier, you know, I might go to a Fire Tiger, perch, but also, you know, with the stained water, the craw as well. So overall though, whether it's, you know, stained or clear, you can't go wrong with the craw color. Also, if it's clear, you know, I'll go with this silver as well. Some type of metallic silver, where you can really get that sun reflecting off of it, and that'll draw those fish in as well. One of my favorite lures to use, which I'm going to be coming up to right now, is jigs. Jigs during the pre-season, during the pre-spawn. You know, just after ice out too, you know, I'll fish the jerk baits. If I notice them where I think they might be starting to make their way in a little bit, maybe on ledges where they're kind of breaking between, you know, deeper water and moving up into the shallows on their beds, they're kind of, you know, during pre-spawn, bass are almost confused in a way on what to do, whether they should stay out deep in their winter holes, or if they, you know, it's time for them to come up shallow and start bedding, get ready to spawn. And, you know, during that time of year where it's pre-spawn, your weather can be all over the place, especially in, you know, a place like Chicagoland area in Illinois. Our weather can be in the 50s one day and in the 20s the next. So there's not a lot of consistency, and that throws the fish off as well. So fishing jigs when you feel that they might be starting to, you know, it's getting higher 40s, closer to 50s. I like to throw all jigs during that time, but primarily either football head jigs, or I can cast it out, really just kind of crawl it along. It'll get that wobble, and or finesse jigs as well, almost like the spider skirt. With those, with jigs, you know, a lot of people are kind of set on certain kind of trailers for those. I know a lot of people that just like to, especially during the pre-spawn, use like chunk trailers, pork chunk trailers, or like the Zoom chunk. I like to experiment, you know, because you never know what's going to be working that day. So, you know, I might use a creature bait, I might use a like a Strike King Rage Tail, like a craw. You know, there's different lures that I will like to use. Even, you know, so you got to kind of let them tell you what they want at that point. If it's real clear, too, you might not need all the appendages. So something, you can't ever go wrong with the craw. That's my favorite to use. But also there's less appendages. Whereas if you're going with a creature bait that has more, that, you know, they don't want to have all that movement sometimes. That might, to them, seem like more work for a meal than they really want. So, base it, you know, kind of off what they're telling you. Also, you know, another one is the Yum Bad Jamma. I like to use this one. So, test out the waters, you know, see what it is. Obviously, your colors, too, are going to be the same. Whether it's darker stained water, you might want to use something like a brown. Blue and black's always good. I actually like to use blue and black in both stained water and clear, but definitely for stained water, you know, go with your browns, your blue and blacks, even a craw color. Craw, again, is, you know, something that I like to use in both clear and stained. If you got real clear water, you might want to go with your naturals, your green pumpkin, or your whites. But base it all off where you're fishing, and again, just like anything else, try to match the hatch. So if you know there's a certain bait fish they're feeding on, or you got craw in there, let where you're fishing at kind of tell you what to use. Another lure that I like to use is just plastics. So Charlie's Worms actually is a good one for it. It's, you know, a big thing with plastics is using like a finesse worm. You don't want to use anything over 5 inches. I think this Charlie's Worm right here is like 3. And either using on like a Carolina rig's real good. Drop shotting. I love to drop shot. That's actually one of my favorite ways of fishing plastics. Either that. A lot of people I think are against it at times, especially during the pre-spawn, but Texas rigging as well. I'll use, or you can fish it weightless. Weightless is really fishing at finesse because you're sitting there, and yeah, my only issue with that is not being able to get it quite as far out there. Another good example is like a Biospawn Plasma Tail. Here's another example of a Charlie's Worm. You want something too with not too much kick with the tail. I feel like the Charlie's Worms, how they have it at almost like a little arrow, is perfect. You have your hula sticks. It's got like 4 little appendages. If you feel that's, you know, giving off too much, maybe try cutting them off. Leave it as just a straight stick worm. You also don't, with your worms that you're using, your plastics, you don't want anything too thick either. You want to give them what they're feeling. Could be a nice easy meal, something with a nice subtle movement to it. Now, if the water is a little bit stained and you are still feeling, generally I would go towards using a different lure. But if it's stained, you're still trying to use plastics, you're still in that finesse mode. That's when I would go to something with a little bit more appendages, something with some more water displacement to try to attract them in. So that's when I might use a creature bait. And one of my favorite creature baits is the Gary Yamamoto. I also love using these as trailers on even chatterbaits, spinner baits, or you have like a Havoc hawk hog, and it's pretty much like a creature bait as well, almost. There's different creature baits that, you know, if anyone that buys Gary Yamamoto, they know it is a little bit more on the expensive side for plastics. So there's other baits that are similar. They are creature baits. You can always find something else that's like Yamamoto and that'll catch fish just the same. So it all depends on what you feel like spending on them. V&M Wild Thing. I actually was fishing the other day and I had a bite fishing this Texas rigged. Unfortunately, it didn't mind the appendages, but it bit one of them off, so it short striked me, and I did not get it. Alright, and last but not least is chatterbaits, bladed jigs. This is another one that would be a situation that I'm going to work it similar to the crankbaits. So if I have some grass where I am swimming it over the top, or if I'm by some rocks, I also, there's different ways to work it too. And with the bladed swim jig, this is something where you can reel it in fast enough for your reeling over the tops of blades of grass, or if you're in a rocky area, you can use kind of like a jigging motion with it. So reel it in a little bit, let it sink down to the bottom, reel it in a little bit. Now sometimes they don't want too much of a bouncy motion, so you can also try dragging it as well, but that also defeats the purpose of the blade on it. If you're going to do that, you might as well go with just the regular jig. But try to work out some different kind of cadence almost. You don't want to get set in that one kind, because if you're doing one motion over and over again, that might not be what they want. So try out different patterns with it. But it's real versatile as far as even for the pre-spawn, in different areas. But again, my favorite spots to fish this during the pre-spawn is over some submerged grass in a rocky area, over some points by laydowns. Now, again, just like all the other colors, if I have clear water, I'm going to use something like either a white chartreuse or a shad color. If it is stained water, I will use something darker, like this one for instance, a green pumpkin purple. Or if you want to do this is also good though, I'll use a green pumpkin purple and clear, but works well in stained, or a black and blue one, some type of craw color. So these are the 6 lures that I tend to use the most during the pre-spawn. If you guys aren't sure what to throw, try one of these out. It may help you catch a fish. Also, I'm interested in what you guys like to throw during the pre-spawn, what you find works out best for you, because to each their own. Something you guys might be having success on, maybe I haven't tried out yet, or maybe not tried in a prime situation with it. So feel free to leave a comment and kind of feed off each other with it. So I hope these presentations help you guys. Also, if you haven't checked out my other video, I am doing a 100 subscriber giveaway. Make sure to check that out. In the video, it gives you details on how to enter and win. I have already hit the 100, but I am going to continue to leave it open for entry until March 31st. Along with that too, I had said in the video that I was going to be announcing in my next video, give you guys a general idea of what I will be giving away to the winner. And so I decided to do kind of like a pre-spawn package. Now, I may not include every single one of these items, but it will have a mix of some different lures that'll help make you successful during the pre-spawn. So when I announce the winner, I'm actually going to show the exact lures that I'll be sending out in the package to you guys. So keep an eye out for that. I'm planning on doing that video to announce the winner. I think like April 2nd or 3rd, because I'll be going away on vacation. So when I get back from vacation, I'll do that video. Keep an eye out. Otherwise, tight lines, guys. Try these out. Have success. Let me know how it goes. Comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.